Hey, converted man here. I've got Riley, who we're going to riff with in rapture and rigor with ridges and R words. I'm out of R words. Okay, how are you doing, Riley?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I exist. I think, yes, I still exist. All right, I had to pinch myself. Ow, why did I do that? Anyways, all right, so kind of a little history for those who don't know. You made a video. I made a video response that was really short, but you also got, before I did that, you got noticed by a big YouTuber.
Yes.
I don't think that's how I found you. I found you just doing my normal thing. I don't know how I found. I don't know how I do anything anymore. But I responded to that, and I had some text exchange. I'm like, "Come and talk to me, come on!" And you're like, "Oh, okay. Do you want to do a debate?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Here's what I'll do for a debate." And you're like, "No, that's okay. We'll talk. We'll just talk." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's better to do."
Well,
that.
I mean,
I'm very
you did.
like. I'm like,
You did lay some ground rules in there.
Here's
That
all the stupid ground rules I come up with. But
right.
So, to try to this kind of like a information exchange dialogue, trying to understand your side, your position. Why do you believe these things? And I'm going to present to you the skeptical side of things, the scientific, the logical side of things as best as I can. I'm not an expert in science. I guess I'm an amateur logician at best because nobody's paid me to do logic yet. Just a little bit about, you've got this 7.5 reasons why God must exist video, and you got a big response from a bigger YouTuber. What was that like? All of a sudden you blow up. You got all these comments rolling in. You must have been freaking out. So tell me a little bit about that.
It was a little confusing because I had no idea that he even made a video about me. He didn't tag me or anything. I don't know how YouTube works where you can tag people, but somebody came to one of my videos and commented, kind of defending me, and I was like, he said came from this person's channel, and I was confused. So I went there and I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Obviously the majority of people who came in were his subscribers, so obviously they disagreed with what I had to say, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah, you got a lot of comments telling you you're wrong. Couple that are on your side. So praise God. I didn't say anything. Come on, say something more than just that. So what do I'm sure that you've read through some, if not all, of these comments. And what do you make of this? All these people telling you that essentially you're wrong and here's why you're wrong. Did any of that make any impact on you?
Well, obviously, I'm open to truth, but coming from an atheistic worldview or an agnostic worldview, I have to see their arguments from their point of view. So, like, if a Muslim is debating me, I want to see where the Muslim is basing their truths off of. And they base it off of the Quran, the Hadiths. So I'm going to argue assuming my worldview, but from their lens, if that makes sense. It might not make sense, but I want to do the same thing to an atheist agnostic, which is kind of where I'm coming at today when I come to speak to you, is an atheist agnostic has no basis for any truth claims that they make. You can justify that by saying, well, I take in objective fact through my subjective lens, but how can you justify that your subjective lens is telling you the fullness of truth? So as a Christian, I have a justification, and I was really hoping in your stream about where you reacted to my video, I was really hoping you would get to my 7th point. And the other big YouTuber also skipped over that point. I don't know if you did it on purpose. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it was about the justification for truth claims, mainly the induction argument, David Hume's problem of induction. I'm sure you've heard of it. But
uniformity in nature is your last point. But basically, everything you just said there is presuppositionalism, and it'll have nothing to do with it at all. So
okay, but I could say the same to you.
You and I. Well, okay. You and I have the same basis of truth. That is, truth is what is real. So it is real that I have a stuffed lobster here, and that is the same no matter what. Now, if you're talking about hard sophilism, then I say lobsters exist. If you and I cannot agree that lobsters exist, we cannot have a conversation. So can we agree that lobsters exist whether there is or isn't a God?
Yeah, but that's not my basis of truth. But that you're arguing a different position.
Doesn't matter then.
But that's not my basis of truth.
It doesn't matter what your basis of truth is.
But you just claimed my basis of truth is what is real. No, that's not my basis of truth.
I didn't claim that. I said that we both exist in reality. We both have access to the same reality, whether there is or isn't a God. And if you're going to play this precept game of, well, I have truth and you can't claim that, then you're out of here and I'm done with you. And you have no logic. You have nothing to offer anyone other than a circular argument that pre-assumes that you're right and everybody else has to be wrong. I have the truth. Nobody else can claim that. Wrong. Everybody can claim what is true because what is true aligns with reality as we observe it.
Okay, can I ask you a question based on that claim?
So
can I?
We're not doing precept, okay?
I just want to make it clear. I just want to make it clear to the viewers. You mentioned that you laid out a list of essentially commands for me if we were going to do a formulated debate with a moderator.
It's called a rule set.
Okay. Yeah, and you told me to assume positions which I don't believe are true. Which I believe is dishonest.
I didn't tell you to assume that. I said that if you're
you did. I'm going to record all of this. I'll post screenshots. You told me to assume that.
I'll put up the entire email that I sent.
Yeah. You told me to assume abiogenesis is true and macroevolution is true, which aren't a given.
I said that if we're going to talk about that we're going to assume that that's true because it is true.
Okay, then I could say the same to you. If we're going to talk about the existence of God, we're going to assume that God is true.
No,
Notice how that's dishonest.
We can prove that those things are true. We can't prove that God is true.
You can prove that abiogenesis is the origin of life, or that it actually creates life.
We can show all sorts of indications that it is. Yes.
Well, no, you just said prove.
In a colloquial sense, we're going to play word games now. Really?
I'm just repeating what you said. I'm not playing any word games.
Okay. So, let's see. So, you have also, now you said atheist and worldview there. What is a worldview?
The way somebody views the world.
How do I view the world?
I don't know. Okay, but I know you're not a Christian, so you're not able to justify.
Okay, so precept again. So that's strike one. Okay, you get two more. Then you're out of here. Okay, we're not doing precept. Okay.
So I'm not allowed to freely express my ideas.
You're not allowed to do precept. Okay. You're not allowed to tell me that I have no justification for X, Y, and Z. You're not allowed. It's not happening.
Why am I not allowed to do so?
Because I'm telling you, you're not allowed. It's my channel, my rules. And also, precept is circular in reason. And if you are a precept, then you have no basis in logic or reality. You don't care about reality. You don't want to learn reality. You don't want to learn logic. You don't want to learn.
I know. I do actually. The Bible actually calls me to do that.
Drop the precept now. Understood?
May I just make an objection to that?
You cannot. You are going to drop the precept.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Respectfully.
Do you understand? You are going to drop the precept.
Respectfully, I welcome.
Do you understand?
I'm responding.
Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm responding. So
yes,
respectfully,
I'm going to drop it.
So respectfully, I will comply with the commands, but I still will ask you and question your worldview.
Okay. Let's cover that then. No more precept. Okay. What? Now you said I have a worldview. Then you said you didn't know what it was. So you also said atheists have a worldview. What is the atheism worldview?
It's the denial of the existence of any God.
Wrong. That's not a worldview. First of all. Secondly, that's not what atheists claim.
What does the atheist claim?
By and large, atheists claim that we don't believe in whatever God is.
Okay, I thought that's what I said, but my apologies. So are you an atheist?
I'm a skeptic, atheist, agnostic, and ichthyist.
Okay, so atheist means what you just said. Agnostic means without knowledge. That's where we get the word agnostic from. So would
Yes.
you, and you're skeptical, so you're studying, you're skeptical over things. So I'm just trying to gauge what your worldview is.
Do you understand that theist, the word theist by itself, isn't any worldview attached to that, correct? Do you understand that?
Well, I'm a theist, and
right,
under the
but
theist,
do you understand
that
the word theist by itself doesn't entail any worldview?
Sure, yeah, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
It
either
depends.
does or doesn't.
Well, I could say that it does, and I would ask you to tell me why I'm wrong.
Does it entail a worldview? Yes or no? This is not
being a theist.
Just the word theist.
Does it entail a worldview? Just the word itself, without no context, without a sentence?
That's what I said. Yes.
No, I wouldn't be able to make sense of words isolated outside of context.
So the same is true with the word atheist, correct?
Sure, outside of context, isolated by itself, a word cannot entail things unless put into context.
There is no atheist worldview. There is no agnostic worldview. There is no skeptic
I would disagree with that.
Well, you'd be wrong.
According to what?
According to what a worldview is.
And what is a worldview?
Well, you just said it. You already know what a worldview is.
So are you saying that I'm contradicting myself?
You said a worldview is a view of what? A view of reality, how to understand it, map it, etc., right?
I just said it's a view of reality. It's kind of
a view
self-defining.
Of reality. Mm-hmm. Right, but that's kind of like a view of reality, but that's not really what the technical term of it is, in definitions and philosophy. So you're just really going shallow there, which, doesn't really surprise me given the logical fallacies and scientific errors in your video that you have. But, it's a very shallow understanding of what the word worldview is. Atheist by itself, atheist, there is no worldview there because it doesn't tell you anything about origins, the universe, life, meaning, purpose, destiny, etc. It doesn't tell you any of those things. It does not prescribe anything. It describes.
But yet you're assuming them.
Huh?
You're assuming them. When you say you're unable to determine whether there's meaning in life, what the origin is.
No. I said that it doesn't prescribe these things. There's no.
Do you believe there is meaning in life?
That's irrelevant. I'm telling you what the word means, entails. Okay.
I'm just asking a question.
Right, but I'm telling you that question is not meaningful right now because the context of this is that I'm describing the word atheist to you and explaining why you're incorrect about it. Now, you said you were trying to understand my worldview, whatever, and I'm telling you, first of all, I don't know what my worldview is, just to clear that off the table.
Perfect.
But if I have a worldview, it is nothing to do with the word atheist, skeptic, agnostic.
Fair enough.
Okay. And so when you claim that atheists have a worldview, all you're doing is creating what's called a construct straw man, which is a logical fallacy. And many people told you in your video in the comments that you got that wrong, and you're ignoring it now as I'm telling you, and you seem to ignore that in the comments because of your pre-existing beliefs.
May I respond to anything that you're saying? Because the more you say, the less I'm going to remember from the beginning. So perfect. So you don't assume a worldview. I'm assuming you don't like that word just because of the way I used it.
I didn't say that, but I don't know what a worldview is.
Okay, you don't assume a worldview. When you make truth claims, what standard of truth do you appeal
Strike
to?
two.
I'm asking you a question.
Strike two, precept. The truth
Are we not allowed to discuss? Do I have to just listen to what you have to say?
This is real.
I disagree.
That's real. Okay.
I disagree.
That's strike three then. We're done. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the things I had for you because you don't care about logic, reason, or science. So here's
logic, reason, and science are only justified in the Christian worldview.
Nope, wrong. That's strike four on precept.
According to what?
According to reason and logic, you're
reason and logic aren't necessary in your worldview.
You don't know.
In the atheist agnostic worldview.
There is no atheist agnostic worldview. You're a charlatan. You're a liar and a charlatan and a typical apologist that we've seen before.
You don't want to answer any of my questions. That's okay.
Your questions are irrelevant. Your questions are irrelevant.
Irrelevant according to what?
We
I
have
came here for
fact,
discussion.
you have faith. No, you came to do precept, and I'm not interested in that. And I tried
You
to get
presuppose
you
your
off.
mind's telling you the truth all the time.
No, I don't.
You
You're
don't?
wrong. No.
So have you made any mistakes in what you've told me so far?
Possibly.
How
But
do you
you know
know
what?
how do you know if you made a mistake?
Because we have facts to back it up. We have data to back it up. You don't have any data or facts.
But how do you know you're not wrong about those facts?
Okay, goodbye.
Alrighty.
So long.
I'm
Nope, you're not. All right, well, that was a waste of my time and energy. I'm not going to engage in presuppositionalism bullshit with people. But I am going to share with you the links I had for him, not that he cares. Here's entropy, because he talked about the beginning of the universe. We don't know that there is such a thing. So all these links are in the description. There's entropy. I had a link on more on causality. I had a what came before the Big Bang. We have theories of eukaryotic origin for abiogenesis. We have eukaryote cell inside out origin, paper on that. We had a explanation of fine tuning from the Stanford Encyclopedia. We have a degree of fine tuning in the universe and others. Paper on fine tuning, because that was one of his points. We have a more fine tuning argument here. Another paper on that. We have, and then the final hurrah, if you will, is an explanation of Planck temperature, and then more about the Planck temperature and why that matters and why that's a problem for the idea that there's a beginning to the universe. But he doesn't care about reason or logic or reality, because he wants to assert that only in his worldview can truth exist. If you're not a Christian, you can't say what's true or false. I'm not a Christian. This is true. And then he said, I disagree. He disagrees with the localized reality of this lobster. So this is the fantasy world that the Christian here, Riley, has to disbelieve in reality that we can all agree on. This really exists. He disagreed with that. You heard him. And I told him, if we cannot agree that lobsters exist, we can't have a conversation. He couldn't agree that lobster existed, so we can't have a conversation. I told him not to do precept. He did precept. It's interesting to me that he would go that route. Now, I made some predictions in a video before this. I asked, will Riley be ready in that video? And I mussed about what our conversation might be and what we might talk about. And I thought, this is a time to share with him, to explain to him that what a worldview is, what atheism is and isn't. And he said he would listen to that and he would do so from my worldview. But as I deconstructed that I don't even know what my worldview is, and also separate to that atheism isn't a worldview, did you hear him listen? Did you hear him agree? Did you hear him try to absorb that, accept it, and say, okay, I understand that? No, you did not. You heard him script but you can't claim truth. You can't claim this. You can't justify this, slipping into hard sophilism back and forth, because we can't trust our brains fully. We all know that. Our eyesight will diminish. Our hearing will diminish. We will begin to perceive reality in a way that it isn't. Now, hopefully right now, we're not doing that. But who knows? Somebody from outside of me will have to come and tell me that stuff is going wrong if I'm that far gone. Or I will notice, hopefully. The connection that I have with reality is the same connection that he has. We both justify truth in the same way. This is true. This is real. It's really on my head for real. Whether there's a God or not, there is a stuffed lobster on deconverted man's head. End of story. We're not playing the precept game. I refuse. I won't deal with that. He doesn't want to admit. Now he's complaining about, by the way, the inside thing of he asked for a debate and I set forth rules that he'd have to agree to do the debate, and he didn't want to do that. And I'll share with that. I'll share those rules. I'll share my email in a moment here. But that didn't need to be brought up. That was irrelevant. That was another thing. We didn't do that. He didn't want to do it. Why? Because he doesn't believe in abiogenesis. Okay. Maybe he's just ignorant of it. We could look into it. Yes, we can prove it. Prove is incorrect, I suppose. We can indicate it with data. But notice he got right on the proof and didn't allow for the colloquial version of proof that we're not trying to, we're not tripping over each other's words. We're trying to understand each other, supposedly. But he wasn't interested in that. He wasn't interested in understanding me or my view or why I held my view. He wasn't interested in hearing the atheist is not a worldview, because that breaks his broken argument more. His broken argument requires atheism to be a worldview. And when you point out that it isn't, he says, well, you can't know what truth is because you don't have God. You don't have my God, my version of God. Really? What version of God would that be? Well, it's Yahweh, right? Well, which version of Yahweh? Which version of the Eucharist do you have? Are you Catholic or Pentecost, a Protestant? Are you Pentecostal? Are you Calvinist? Are you Baptist? Are you First Church of Christ? Are you Latter-day Saints? What are you? Is it pre-trib or post-trib? Do you believe in the Trinity? Do you believe in baptism? Is baptism necessary for salvation or not? Does it have to be fully immersed or not? Man, there's a lot of specific versions of Christianity, but his version, which, if there's Christian viewers, may not be your version of God, and it's a different version, especially if it requires you to be baptized in water, but your God doesn't need that. That's a different God then. And so if you're a Christian, the God that you believe in is over here, and the God that he believes in is over here. And there might be some similarities, but the differences are absolutely vital, especially if they matter to your salvation. How do you get saved? Well, just say this prayer. Just say that you believe in Jesus and that he died for your sins and came back from the dead. Okay, that's all I have to do is just believe that Jesus came back from the dead. I don't need to believe that Jesus is God. Well, you do have to believe that Jesus is God. Okay, so there's two things I need to do, not just one. And then you add on to that list very quickly as a Christian, and you know that. Now, Riley is the typical lost presuppositionalist with nothing to show other than bad arguments. His video had nothing but illogic, nothing but bad science. And now we understand why, because he's into presuppositionalism, which is, I flip a coin, if heads I win, and tails you lose. Okay, you want to play that game? You want to play the I win game? Well, I win. Oh, you didn't want to play a game? Guess what? I still won, because you can't justify truth in your worldview. Really? You don't even know what my worldview is. I don't even know what my worldview is. Well, under atheism, no. Under atheism, that's not even a worldview. But we're not interested in reality. We're interested in faith and our bad arguments. Shame. For shame. Well, Riley was wrecked, which is not an R word. I can think of some other R words that maybe I shouldn't use. I'm sure that that's filled your head with all sorts of bad ideas. So I am not surprised, but also not happy, because I would have liked to talk to Riley and not a presuppositionalist. You see, Riley wasn't present here. What we had was a precept, and precepts are just a script. They're boring. They're not interesting to me, and I don't want to talk to them. I suppose I could have asked him an email, if he was a precept. It didn't really occur to me. He didn't seem to be a precept in his video. Well. Anyway, so reality is real. And how do we understand reality? Well, the best way we've come about is through the scientific method. It gave us this internet, the computer, the webcam, the microphone, all these things, the lights in my house, my health, everything, the lobster. Thanks, science. So abiogenesis, is it true? Well, we can certainly indicate that it's true, and I had those couple of links for it. That's only 2 links. There's hundreds and thousands of, and those are papers that you'd have to read through. There's more than just 2. There's hundreds. There's been tests done by scientists. And the creationists will just go, yeah, but we haven't made life in the lab yet. And you go, okay, well, when we do, then what? Well, then you needed all this time to figure out how to make life, and you still needed chemicals to do it. And where did those chemicals come from? Because of course they're going to move the goalposts back. Listen, why not just say, okay, look, if there's a God, then it did abiogenesis, and it used evolution. Those things are apparently true. Why deny them? Because your religion informs you that you need to deny them, depending on the religion you have. Not all Christians are creationists, young earthers, young universe, and or deny biological evolution. Many are smart and intelligent people who understand the science and accept it and even embrace it. Now, there's only one apologetic website that I know of that tries to square science with religion. And I think they get things wrong, but at least they're trying. And that's Biologus, which I forgot. I didn't think of linking, but somebody can tell me to do that. Whatever. You guys know what it is. And they're fine with science. And many Christians are okay with biology. They're okay with evolution. And they're okay with abiogenesis. But they kind of need God to be in there somewhere. But it's hidden. God's hidden. So why would you see him there when we can't see him anywhere else? But he wasn't interested in engaging with any of that because he was too busy with his thumb up his butt saying that you can't say what's true unless you're a Christian like me. My type of Christian. The Christian that requires you to believe that baptism in water full, you have to be fully immersed. We have to say in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, or it doesn't count. You also need to believe that the Trinity is true. Also, you need to do this and this and this. And, you have to go to church every Sunday or it just doesn't count. And believe me, some believers are super picky with their theology. So his version of God, whatever that is, whatever his theology might be, ultimately requires him to say, I alone have the truth. And nobody but me can say that because I have the real for real God and everybody else gets it wrong. So you need to be part of his religion. And you might say, well, I'm a Christian, but you're not part of his type of Christianity, whatever that is. So you better go find, if you're a believer, you better go find out what that is and join up because otherwise you don't have the truth. You only can have the truth if his particular version of Christianity is true. That's what precept does. And of course, everyone can use precept. Everyone can claim that their God justifies them in truth. But you know what we have to do when we drop this whole precept nonsense? We have to confront reality and say, you and I, we both have access to the truth, which is nothing more than a word. The truth is what reality is. Here's a stuffed lobster. That's still real. And if you can't agree that this is real, then I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you because you're not sharing this reality with me. And shame on you. For shame. Take your precept nonsense and go away. I don't want to talk to you ever. And you're dead to me until you give up precept and apologize in full. And he could do that in email. He won't, but he could. I would encourage him to learn informal logic, but he doesn't care about informal logic. He's never studied it. He's probably never gonna. Same thing with formal logic or science. Why should he? He's got the truth, so he doesn't need to. He can be as lazy as he wants and pompous as he wants, saying that he has the truth, and that in my worldview, which he doesn't even know what that is, I can't claim what is or isn't true. Really? How do you know that? If I don't even know my worldview, how in the hell do you know that I can't claim what's true? What an asshole. Oh well. But that's, I say asshole because that's what precept is. It's you become an asshole when you do it. Not that he's an asshole per se. He might be, but that doesn't negate his argument. I just hate precept. All right. What else can I say here? There was many logical fallacies. I didn't even get to ask him if he had watched my video or not. I don't think he did. I don't think he listened to anything I said in the video. I really doubt it, but I didn't get to ask him. Oh, well. But since he would have said, well, you can't prove that it's true that you watched, that you made a video under your worldview, you know, and he's like, I'll obey those commands. Isn't that interesting? He'll obey the commands. That's very interesting turn of phrase he used there. Obey the commands. Weird. I was like, okay, you know, there wasn't a normal conversation, was it? Very weird. But that's what happens when you're a presuppositionalist. You can't have a normal conversation. And when you're dealing with logic, you know, and he kept trying to say, well, you said this, you said not really. He wasn't interested in anything but his script, was he? How sad. Riley doesn't understand reality, I guess would be the name of this show. Now, I suppose some people say, you shouldn't have kicked him out, whatever. I don't care. He's a precept. I'm not dealing with it. That's just my rule. I don't deal with precepts. Okay, I did mention I'd share the email, even though that's like, whatever. Let's see. All right, let me get my... because I don't want to, like, dox anybody. I don't want to, like... How do I... Let's see if there's anything that I can't show on this screen. Okay, I'm just making sure that nothing I show indicates anything that I wouldn't want anyone else to see. Okay, it looks good. All right, let me share that. Okay, and we'll probably can't see that because it's puny. So we're gonna have to zoom in. Whee! So this is me writing. This is you know, you can see from Deconverted Man wrote the following. Let's see if we can read that here. Nope, still not big enough. Is that bigger? Oh wow! Why does it do that? It's gonna keep doing that. Not like come on, get over. Come on, man. Well, I'm not sure if you guys, girls and robots, can read that or not. So I'm going to copy and paste, and then I'll put it in Notepad because I can zoom in on Notepad infinitely, whereas Gmail's not letting me zoom in here because I want you to be able to read it and know that I said all this for real. Let's see which one. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see. Make sure that's big enough so everybody can see it. A little bit bigger. Okay. All right. So let's get this down a little bit so that we can see what we're doing. Give ourselves a little bit more workspace. It's much better to have a conversation where we exchange ideas to understand what each other believes and why. This would be an informal exchange dialogue with the goal of mutual understanding. Well, that didn't happen. That being said, if you really want a debate with me will require the following rule set. A logician analyzes the debate, and whoever commits more logical fallacies must concede and admit they were wrong. Only one syllogism is allowed. The topic must be agreed upon by both participants. Time for opening, rebuttal, and closing statements must be equal for both sides. There will be a question and answer segment where each participant controls the questioning in turn. If a loaded question is called out by the logician, the person forfeits the question and control passes to the other participant. The questioner may hang up, meaning they can end the answer segment if they feel the response is unproductive or repetitive. Citations for scientific claims must come from peer-reviewed journals indexed in Scopius or Web of Science. There will not be any citations or references to pseudoscientific sources, including Answers in Genesis, Institute for Creation Research, Creation Ministries, Creation Ministries International, Creation Evolution Headlines, Conservapedia, OriginalChristianity.net, or any other creationist or intelligent design websites, books, videos, blogs, or other works promoting pseudoscience or anti-scientific ideas. In short, biological evolution will be treated as a fact, as will as a biogenesis, and the age of the Earth and the universe, 4.54 billion and 13.8 billion years, respectively. If you would agree to those terms, we can move forward for proposals for the question at hand to be debated. If not, let's talk. Now, he could have responded and say, can we not treat abiogenesis as a fact? And I would have been like, well, it's kind of weird, but okay, sure. I mean, if your whole argument needs that to not be a fact, I guess we can pretend that reality isn't real for fun. He could have negotiated, but he didn't. And I set out that rule set because it's a serious debate. And I don't have time for pseudoscience. I'm not very well versed in science. And something I'm still trying to learn and understand more of science so I can be well versed in it. But I don't want anti-science. Now, every citation I shared today in my video and in the description is not from those peer-reviewed papers per se that I said we would need to pull from. These are more kind of like surface level things I could find via Google, because I wanted to keep it simple. But if you want to have a rigorous debate with me, then we're going to have a rigorous debate. But we're going to both acknowledge reality. It's a bad step to step off and say, we're going to ignore reality. I mean, I guess I could do a debate where we did that, but it'd be weird. But if you want to argue abiogenesis, become a scientist and argue abiogenesis in scientific papers. Promote your theory, whatever it is, and explain how that works and what would falsify it. Show your models. If you want to show that abiogenesis is false, great. Do that. He's not going to do that. We know that. Instead, he's going to say, well, but they haven't proven it yet. What degree do they need? What do you mean they haven't proven? They've shown that there's a lot of reasons to think it's true. Well, that doesn't matter. Okay. What do you got then? Nothing. I got that but if there's no God, then, my booger doesn't taste bad. My booger tastes bad. Therefore, God. It's just nonsense, right? Well, I would have asked all of you to ask Riley questions, but since I got rid of them and don't want them anymore, I got rid of Riley. Yeah, it's just fun with all the R words. Go ahead and ask me questions if you want, and I'll do my best to answer. Now I will look at chat and see what sort of things people yelled at me while I was throwing him off stage. Let's go. Oh my God, so much chat. By the way, if you are in chat now, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for being in chat. But YouTube doesn't care about what you say over here. It only cares that you say stuff once this is a video on my channel. Okay, so if you would be so kind, after this is done, which is very soon, wait a couple seconds, a minute, maybe hit F5 a few times, and it will become a video, and then you can put in a comment. It doesn't matter what you write. You can write anything. Write lobsters exist, write pineapples, write rabbits. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's for the glory of the algorithm so that YouTube will be like, hey, people like this guy. And then, that will get me some more traffic, and that will be something that will help me to motivate me to keep doing this, whatever this is. And, thumb it up or down, either way. And hey, maybe you disagree with me. Cool. You can tell me why I'm wrong in the comments, and I'll interact with it. And if you need to send me a link, YouTube doesn't like links. It doesn't like the word email. It deletes things. So before you put like something long, have it in, Notepad, and then copy from Notepad and paste it and then post that. But if that doesn't post, or you think it might have died, email it to me, deconvertedman1@gmail.com. So, yeah. Okay. So, all right. Well, let me go scroll up and see what everybody said. Mighty Filbert said hi. What up? Yes. Riley. Hello. 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 I wish someone would make a reaction video about my content. Okay, you got it. It's gonna be stupid, but I'll do it. Hello, everybody. What's the basis for Riley's truth claim? The Bible? Yeah, exactly. What is the basis of truth, DM? Reality. Reality is the basis of truth. The word truth, well, I mean, all words are made up, right? But it's not this like magical thing. That's not how I view it. I mean, I guess you could get deep and philosophical, but I like to keep things simple, keep things simple, stupid, Now, I'm saying that about myself, not you. You're very smart. You're a scientist and beautiful and probably not single. Never have a chance. Wait, stop flirting with people. Okay, sorry. Right, I'm supposed to flirt with I and Davenport only. That was my New Year's resolution. I forgot about. Anyways, Rob was like, anyways, sorry. I'm joking. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, right, truth. Baby, don't hurt me. So whatever, real. Okay, lobsters exist. That's a claim. Here's a lobster. Now, okay, this is a stuffed lobster, but I don't have a live lobster to pull out. So, but we know lobsters exist, and we can demonstrate that lobsters exist by videos, pictures, visiting an aquarium. There's ways that we could, see an actual living lobster. But in lieu of that, a stuffed lobster will do. And so, is it true that this is a stuffed lobster? Yes, it is true, because truth is just the framework that says, is it or is it not? So lobster on my hand is true. Lobster on my hand is false. And that's it. So the basis of truth is simply reality. Now, could it be that my brain is tricking me and there's not a lobster on my hand? Oh, maybe. But guess what? All of you get to tell me, yeah, I see a lobster, deconverted man. Now, maybe all our brains are messing with us. But the likelihood of that is, well, I don't know what the likelihood of that. But you know what that means? That means we should be a skeptic. We shouldn't just believe that our brain always works all the time. We should recognize that we might be wrong. And in accordance to that, say, I'm going to be careful. Now, with some things, lobsters existing, we know we're right. I mean, it'd be silly to think that we're wrong about that. Just as silly to think that you and I don't exist. Of course you exist. Robin exists. I exist. We could talk to each other. She could call me. She never returns my calls. Okay. What is deconverted man's basis of truth? Reality. Let him talk. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't know that most do. I know that I haven't done a poll on what atheists use as their view, but yeah. So much good evidence for evolution, far more than for gravity. Why do I not want to do precept? Because I'm not interested in circular nonsense. I'm not interested in masturbation. I mean, not online. Yep. Atheism is not a worldview. It's not much. It's just not believing in God. Correct. But he didn't like that. People didn't like the 3 strikes you're out. Oh, well, too bad. It's not a real debate. Correct. It wasn't meant to be a debate. It was meant to be an information exchange, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to do precept. I don't think I said that. I did say that he's not allowed to do precept, which is just saying I'm right and you're wrong, which is all he was doing with precept. You're not going to let him speak? No, I wasn't going to let him talk precept nonsense. That is correct. Precept's not a valid argument. We're asking for evidence of God. Well, we didn't even get to ask for evidence of anything because I wasn't interested in doing precept. Calm down, DM, please. No, I will get angrier. Atheism isn't a worldview, it's a conclusion. I don't know about that, but okay. A wrong conclusion. So my conclusion that I don't believe in God is a wrong conclusion. How is it I don't believe in God a wrong conclusion to your view? How does that make sense in your brain? Because it is true that I don't believe in God. So the conclusion is true. Do you think that atheism means that I'm saying there's no God? Because that's not what I'm saying. Oh, I'm so confused. No, I'm capable of having a productive conversation with somebody who actually wants to talk. You're invited. Hey, guess what, Michael? Set up a day and time. We'll talk as long as it's not precept. Asking for justification of worldviews and precept. No, it was because, first of all, I said, I don't know what my worldview is, but also atheism is not a worldview. And then he said, well, what's the justification for truth? That's back to precept again. So we're not playing that game. I'm not interested in that. Some atheists conclude that gods don't exist, and some believe there's insufficient evidence. You're right. Correct. I haven't done a poll to find out, who thinks what yet. But the poll I do will be limited in scope. So, but I'm only interested in debating definitions of words and nothing of substance. Really? Well, I mean, in order to talk, we have to agree on what the words mean. But he said atheism's a worldview. That's not true. So the substance of what he was saying is a lie and not true. So I'm interested in getting to the truth. What he also said that, but he wasn't actually interested in getting to the truth. So, hey, if you want to talk, we can talk, Let's see. Dan talks too much, man. Yeah, I know. Talking too much. Let's see. I'm not terrified to talk about anything of substance. That is incorrect. I would love to talk about stuff of substance, but I'm not interested in precept. You're a waste of time and energy. We have Genesis. There you go. There's the typical Christian mindset I was waiting for. We have a book that says stuff. Wow. Bring him back and have a discussion. No. Not interested. Unless he apologizes for using precept, then he's welcome back. But until then, he's dead to me. My point can be wrong. But he was saying that truth can only exist if he's right. And that undermines our ability to talk to each other. And when I said, this lobster is real, if we can't agree upon that, we can't talk. And he said, well, I don't believe the lobster is real. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we can't talk then. Repent and believe in the gospel. Why? Y'all need Jesus. No, we need logic and reason. I mean, I meditated. I was, I did everything I could to stay calm, but I just don't have any energy, time, or patience for precept. So the minute I recognized he was doing precept, I was like, look, you can't do that. That's it. We're done. And he didn't like that. So, oh well. Should have done it on Riley's channel. That's not our host's intent. No, my intent was to shut down that precept nonsense. Let's see. Riley barely got any word in. Well, yeah, because I was explaining to him about reality, and I don't think he was interested in reality. Because Riley kept wanting to do precept, and I'm not interested in doing precept. All right, let's see what else. Thank you, Sean. There's no fruitful discussion to be had if the person upholds precept. Correct. Exactly. You got it. There are fundamental epistemological assumptions we all have. We don't require each other to prove them. Yeah, to some extent, I would agree with that. There's certain axioms that we all have to agree to. A equals A, things like this. Reality is real. And I'm just not into precept. So, butter. That's probably the best comment so far. Atheism is a self-defeating paradigm. How is it how is me not believing in God anything? This is again with this continual weird view of what atheism is that I don't understand. All right. Okay, I think I finally got to the bottom of the comments there. Woo! Caught up to all of you. Yeah, I appreciate the feedback. I could have been calmer, etc. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. You know, I'm a guy. I don't know what to tell you. Love me, hate me, somewhere in between. I don't know. You know, I enjoy talks. I've done talks with theists. Yeah, I have a whole playlist of talks I've done with theists. So, you know, maybe it would have been better as an interview. I just interview them and ask them questions. I don't know. Sorry. I'll do better next time. I don't know what to tell you. God commands his people to back a loving relationship of communion with him. I command you to love me. Weird. It's not hate nor requirement. No, it is a requirement. You're required to love God. It's so weird. Like, true love is not a requirement. It's something you give freely without any expectation of getting anything in return, by the way. Without any offer of a bribe or any threat of punishment. That would be true love. You know, if when I do love somebody in a romantic sense or in a family sense or in a you know, broship, you know, friendship sense, whatever, it's I care about them and their well-being, and I don't expect them to care for me, and maybe they don't. And you know, at some point, if it's the case where they're not reciprocating, then you know, not worth keeping them as a friend. But you know, we saw the video response system. Yeah, that was great back in the day. Let's see. So, guys, girls, robots in chat, go ahead and ask me questions if you want. You know, and if not, you know, like I said, hey, you can email me and we can set up a day and time to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And, you know, I'll take the hit. You know, you could have done more. You know, hey, look, you can go talk to Riley if you want to deal with precept. Good luck to you. More power to you. Good luck with all that. I can't do it. I'm not built for it. So maybe if you can, cool. I'll watch, I'll listen, I'll thumbs it up, I'll share it, whatever I can to promote it. More power to you. But I'm just not interested in that. Hello, Deconverted Man. Maybe call you Dan. You could call me. Yeah, sure. That's why I put Dan Green there. You know, you can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late on Sunday. Oh, am I kidding? Call me late on Sunday. I don't care. Christ sits at the right hand of the Father. So the Father has hands, and Jesus has somewhere to sit. Why does Jesus need to sit anywhere? Does Jesus have a body still? Where's Jesus's body right now? Like in space-time. Because you have a physical body, right? Like this, right? Jesus ascended into heaven. Now, I don't know what that looks like. Did he float up into the sky and go into outer space and zoom off? Or did he just disappear? I don't know. But whatever ascending to heaven is, he did so apparently with his full body intact. So how does that work? I don't know. That doesn't, my not knowing how that works doesn't make it untrue. But if you think about it and you go, well, his body needs food to survive because it's still a human body. It will still age. So Jesus would what, 2025 years old now? Whatever. Of course, that just joking about that. But yeah, he'd be old. He'd be very old now if he's still. But how would he have eaten and drank and gone to the bathroom during that time that he existed in heaven or wherever he is? Does his body no longer function like a physical body does? What was the point of taking his physical body with him then? Is that just so that we couldn't find his body, so that we couldn't demonstrate that he didn't come back from the dead or something? I mean, but how does it work? How does it work? So Solarb, what an interesting name. Solarb. Your mind is finite, yours and mine in time and space. That is true. Our mind is indeed finite. Okay. So God's mind is infinite. All right, cool. Prove that God has a mind. Prove that God is anything at all without just saying, well, but without God, you can't have the truth. Or, Oopsie. What's this? All right. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else has any questions for me per se. Prove gods are possible. Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, I guess, it depends what God is, and that's a whole nother discussion, I suppose, if and when we make actual intelligence that's artificial, if I don't even know if that's a thing we can do, but if we did, I guess that makes us a god to some degree. And then wouldn't we be judged by others on how we treat it? And Black Mirror, the series Black Mirror, has a lot of episodes diving into the morals and ethics of AI. The one episode where you get a clone of you and it's put into this little egg that controls your house and sets up your appointments. And it's that's so you're torturing yourself. You give yourself something to do, and what it is menial tasks. And it's that's torture for that being that you've made. And eventually rights are developed for AI and stuff like this. But it's wow, that, and then one of them is guilty, and so they put him in a simulation and they extend it to indefinite time, essentially. That's White Christmas, I believe. But yeah, I mean, how do we treat AI, once we have it? I actually do have a question, but it's totally irrelevant to the stream. That's not going to stop me. I don't care. Without God, you can't argue at currently specific under the Eastern Orthodox Monochrono-Tritarian paradigm. Whatever, I don't know. Yeah, unless my version of God, which is the lobster original deity that you can learn about in the Lobstress, is true, then you can't say the word true from now on. And if you say the word true, then you've just proven that the lobster original deity is true. Nom, nom, nom. I should have pulled up the Lobsters. Damn it, deconverted man. What's wrong with you? I don't know. What's wrong with you? I don't know. Lots of things, I suppose. I mean, what do you want? I don't know. You said. Okay, well, where are we? Let's see. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's the Lobsters. Why not? I don't care anymore. Evidence. We have it. Some religions and faiths claim to have evidence. There, let me put myself small here. But all they ever offer is bad arguments. with big sounding words, something like whatever began to exist has a cause, as if that could prove anything. Just presume that God exists, they think is real is real. That's all rubbish and nonsense. Of course, we, however, have actual evidence that Laud is real, because without Laud, you would not have the universe or lobsters. Both the universe and lobsters exist, so Laud must exist. It's evidence. That's precept. Just stop by, abuse the views. Thank you, Objective Ethics. Post a comment and all that. So check out God's revelation at the human heart by Sephron Rose. Why would I do that? Like, Slorb, will you read The Lobsterist? Are you going to read The Lobsterist? Probably not, right? Why? Because it's a silly book. I haven't given you any real reason to read it, right? So I'll shortcut it. The Lobsterist claims to be an authoritarian book about the revelation that there is a lobster original deity that made everything. And it has some other stuff in it too, but basically that's the sum total of it. And if you read it, then you have to believe it's true, because it says if you read it, then you believe that it's true. So if you read it and say it's not true, then you didn't really read it. It's really great. But it's an example of arguing in a circle. And the point of it is to understand that that's a bad thing to do and that no one should do it. It's a good book, and sure. Well, I mean, you think it's a good book. I'm not interested in reading a book unless it has empirical evidence, a repeatable test, or a sound argument for its claims. So does it have empirical evidence, repeatable test, or sound evidence for its claims, or is it just saying stuff about God? Because I'm not interested in reading a book that just says stuff about God. Anyone can claim anything about God. I could claim that God is a lobster. Nothing stops me from... Just kidding, I'm fine. Nothing stops me from doing that. So somebody can write a book saying whatever. Where's the proof that what they say is true? That's all I care about. It's 50 pages. But why? Why would I read it? It's not Slorb, it's not going to convince me unless there's empirical evidence, repeatable test, or a sound argument that the book references. So does it have those things, yes or no? If no, then I'm not, why would I don't see a point. So, yeah. You know what? I don't know. Whatever. Let's just end the. Let's just do this. Let's see what happens. We'll put the thing live. We'll see if anyone wants to join in, and let's just make this. I don't know. We'll see and if nobody joins in within a few minutes, I'll call it a day, I suppose. Empirical evidence is something that can be measured, right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Empirical evidence is okay. This is empirical. We can see it. We can test it. We can measure it. We can weigh it. We can do all sorts of things. We can verify it with sight, but not just with sight, because maybe it's something like the wind that you could measure and test. You can see the effects of it. Maybe it's something like magnetism, that you can show the effects of magnetism by pouring iron pellets on a piece of paper with a magnet. Objective Ethics is here. Okay. Objective Ethics. I know this guy.
Hey, brother. How are you doing today?
Hey, I suck. How's it going?
Oh, it's outstanding. Listen, I just wanted to pop in really fast and say thank you so much for taking time a couple weeks ago to help me out with my syllogism.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working really hard on it. I've actually redone it about 4 times. And I've talked to a lot of people since I've talked to you. I've talked to several PhD scholars who have doctorate degrees in philosophy, and I spoke to you.
Ooh.
Obviously, you're an author, so you know what you're talking about. And I've gotten so much great advice, man. I
I don't
just
know
really
what I'm
appreciate
talking
your
about.
time.
Well, thank you for the kind words. You know, objective ethics, guys, girls, and robots out there is, I think, hopefully, writing a book on this.
I have decided to. I told my wife I'm about 75 to 80% convinced that's what I'm going to do. I think you're right about that. I think taking each of my premises and making a chapter out of it is going to be a much more effective way
if not the entire
of dealing
book,
with
or at least a large part of it. Yeah, because it might not even be a reducible to a single argument. You know, what you're wanting to do is a very complex thing. I hope that you can. I don't know. I honestly don't know if you can or can't. But it will make an interesting journey and an interesting book, no matter how it turns out. And I look forward to it.
Well, a lot of what's going to determine if I decide to go through with this book is I have a debate coming up against an atheist, and which I'm really looking forward to because I'm so tired of dunking on Christianity and the Bible. That's just low hanging fruit. You know what I mean? It's too easy.
Debate
And
those dang atheists.
yeah, so it'd be nice to debate a fellow skeptic. And obviously, the more popular position among skeptics is subjective morality, and I'm kind of an outlier with my idea about objective ethics and stuff. So it'll be a really good debate. But I've done a tremendous amount of research into this over the last several months, and I honestly think that the biggest hurdle that I have is not going to be my opponent. It's actually going to be Hume's guillotine, the ought from an is problem, because I'm basing my theory on evolution. But I do think I found the bridge that I need to get around the guillotine. So I don't know if my syllogism, I've reworked it several times, and I just recently found a video learning how to actually form a proper syllogism. And it's
Good
a
for
very
you.
technical process.
You're learning
really
informal logic.
I'm trying, and it's not easy for an idiot like myself. You know,
Did I send you the PDF of a informal logic book? If not, I can, unless you can buy one yourself. But
all of those went into the comment section somehow, and I didn't get any of the links came through.
Okay, I'll email you I'll email you the thing. Then.
That would be so awesome because there is some videos on informal logic, and there is a video on how to form a proper syllogism and how to test your syllogism using the star system or the asterisk system.
Okay.
I'm sure.
I mean, a truth table is usually the ultimate thing, but it's such a headache to do a truth table. But I mean, if you really want to, be stupidly, I don't know your email here. It's buried. Can you email me something, and then I'll poke you back. Send me that book, Deconverted Man. You know what I'm talking about. And then tell me.
Yeah, I will shoot you an email.
Yeah. Then complain that I didn't let the guy talk and I got mad. Complain about how I suck.
Now, I actually missed most of this video. it just came up on my feed. I don't know why it took so long to come up on my feed because I think I have all notifications for your channel on. But
I don't
sometimes
know.
it's delayed.
YouTube is weird. I announced it a while ago, tried to hype it up so that, and we got a number of people from his channel that come in and, they're all like, we're rooting for him and, they're going to be upset with me and that's okay. I mean, I'm just one guy, for those that stuck around, to hear what I had to say after I kicked him out, that's great. But I just don't have, and maybe it is, something I'll like remember, I'll learn from it and, improve. It's like ask people, are they pre-sub before I talk to them? And then if they are, just don't talk to them. I think that will be what I'll do moving forward. So I can learn from my errors and admit that I'm wrong.
Well, are you going to repost this video once you finish streaming it? Because I'd like to go back and watch that. It'd be very interesting.
It automatically does that. It's on, once it's done of being a stream, it becomes a video on YouTube. And then you can, rewind whatever, and then you can post a comment under it and all that.
Oh, perfect. Then I will definitely go back and check that out. Yeah, so as far as the syllogism goes, having looked into this really deeply, I am not convinced for sure that I can even make a valid syllogism out of my
Hmm.
argument. I just
Well,
don't know.
valid is easy. Valid is easy. It's sound that's the hard part.
Right, and I don't really want to just put a syllogism together just to have one. I think making the argument, like you said, that I've told people that you had advised me that you're an author who had actually advised me to take that route. And I do think you're right about that. I think that's definitely the best way to go, because my theory leads me to what I call the 7 pillars of ethics, which I think would
Oh,
make a nice addition to the book itself. So
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Sounds
We can
good.
always,
Sounds like a great chapter, or maybe 7 chapters. I don't know, but yeah. Hi, Paul.
Never mind. Long time no see.
Yeah. Well,
Years.
complain about what I did here, Paul.
I didn't see the beginning of this.
It doesn't matter. Complain anyways.
God suck.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Depends what God is, I suppose.
There's only one. Look up Brock Man, not Brock Ma. Brock Man.
Brock
Hindu.
Man?
Yes, the top Hindu god. There's only, I think, one temple to him because he don't give a royal flying fuck about the universe.
Well, I don't know how to spell that, so I can't really
Okay,
look it up.
Brakman.
Brakman? Brockman? Bro?
It's a top Hindu god.
Hindu. I like Shiva the Destroyer. Oh, there it is. Oh,
no.
Brahman.
Man.
Brahman. The ultimate reality and supreme unchanging spirit that's the source of all existence.
And he doesn't care. Everything comes from him.
Nice.
Yeah, but the thing is, everything comes from him, and he don't give a rat's ass.
And now, see, this kind of I like.
That's
this.
why there's no temple to him to speak of, because he doesn't answer prayers. He exists. Everything manifests itself from him.
Yeah, he's got 3 heads there. He's not even right. He's eating a candy bar. He's got a flower. He's holding a necklace. No.
To describe him is to lessen him.
No, I'm describing it. He's on this
You're making
giant
him
flower
less.
on water.
It's
got a watermark on it.
No, you made him less now because you described him.
So you can't describe him. So then you can't even talk about him at that point. It's like, yes, what is Brahman?
That's why maybe one. That's why there's only one temple.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean,
here's nothing to you, God, because you don't give a rat's ass.
You know, I was talking to somebody I really care about in my life, and I try to not debate him because I don't want to, And he was like, he thought that he unfortunately doom scrolls and finds memes, and he stumbled onto a meme that he thought was true, which was this idea that DNA holds a coded pattern of Hebrew letters, and then it spells out Yahweh. And I'm like, okay, cool. Have you? And I'm like, do the research on it. He's like, yeah, because if it looks like it, then I'd be like, yes. So I encouraged him to do the research, and I'm like, don't just dismiss it. And I'm like, I'm not dismissing it. I don't know if it's true. I looked into it. It's not true even a little. But I want him to look at it for himself and not just have me tell him, well, it's wrong.
You do know the Jews had many gods.
Yeah.
And then they narrowed it down to one.
To one, yeah.
Yeah. But he was the son of, man,
Yahweh,
God.
had Ashra, I don't know who else.
They had like 70 children. He's one of 70.
Mm.
And he's the war. And I always say Yahweh is the war god. That's
they made him into a war god.
Yeah, but because just look at his creation story. It's fucked up. All his rules are fucked up. That's a real military thinker.
Kent Brockman.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yahweh comes out. This what you're talking about is comes out of the Canaanite pantheon, and El was the supreme deity. Asherah was his consort, and they were the parents, quote unquote, parents of Yahweh. And then Yahweh ends up defeating El and actually ends up marrying, not technically marrying, but becoming partners with his own mother. And you can see as you read through the Hebrew Bible that they transition out. That El is in there, Asherah is in there, and they kind of transition out and they amalgamate those qualities from those gods.
Yeah, now that's just
Yahweh.
Completely gone from all modern translations of the Bible. It just says God, and it's completely erased. The history is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like the Mormons rewrite the Book of Mormon all the time. It's like, oh, the Bible never changes. Yeah, no, it's changed a lot actually.
Well, it's wild because a lot of Jews and Christians, obviously, probably Muslims as well, they say, oh, that didn't happen. And then if you actually trace back, you ask them to say, well, who were the Jews? The Jews used to be Israelites. The Israelites used to be Hebrews, and the Hebrews came out of
Zoroastrianism, yeah, and all that.
Okay, real quick. I don't get into it too deeply because it's fucking shit.
So anyways, we had this kind of conversation about that, and I said, I want you to look into it and all that. And I said, look, whether it's God or we're just here, it's amazing. No matter what, it's just cool that we exist, and that's good enough for me. I don't know why we exist. I know some things, don't know all the things, like the true nature of reality. Don't know. You don't. But, no, not really lobsters, but to some degree we know some of this stuff. We don't know. And I said, we exist. That's pretty cool. Let's just be happy with that. And we kind of agreed there. And I was like, okay, let's. I don't know why you're trying to convince me of this meme you found. And if you want to research it, I encourage you to do it. I want you to do it. I'll help you if you want. I won't help you if I did, but I did look it up on my own because I had to. So, what is it for real? Oh, yeah. So, first of all, my first thought was, well, where did it come from? The meme originates from a Christian website, of course, and I'm like, well, that's already a red flag for me. He's like, well, it doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm like, well, but it does matter where it comes from. And then they claimed that DNA, it's not that it looks, that the shape of DNA looks like any letters at all, because it's just a double helix, and that doesn't look like any letters that we have, period. So, in any language that we know of. So, that the meme that he's referencing has already changed what they said to something new now, because it's already, the meme has evolved. And so the starting meme was, there are carbon or chromosomic or something, I forget the term, but some sort of chain in DNA, and that the numbers of that are whatever the numbers are, 6, 7, 10, 11, whatever. And that then you translate those in Hebrew, because of numerology, equal letters, and that happens to be YHWH, whatever, Yahweh, the 4 letters of Yahweh. And it's like, well, first of all, no, that chain doesn't even exist in DNA, so that's wrong. So it's like, well, there goes the whole argument. There goes.
But the names of what he's talking about, the chemicals he's talking about, are arbitrary. They were made by people. They could have been anything else. A name for sugar could be a whole different word. The name for all the damn, the ones that all that stuff.
Even though ChatGPT can
it
can hallucinate. I talked, quote unquote, to it, asking what the thing was, and it's like the pattern of chemical bonds, sulfur bridges, supposedly follows a numeric sequence of 10, 5, 6, 5, and that equals Yod, he, I, he, so that's YHWH. So therefore it's encoded in our DNA, and also the 4 DNA bases A, C, G, T correspond to Hebrew letters, and so yeah, oh, that's so amazing. There's no actual sulfur bridges in DNA. Oh, arbitrary assignment of numbers and letters, numerology. Yeah, and and then it's like, well, why would it be Hebrew? And there's no scientific evidence for this, and so it's like, okay, so it's completely fake. Got it. The end.
Yeah,
and
Hebrew has never changed since its conception.
Yeah, and of course it has. Well, if God wanted to do that, first of all, why do that? Why not, I don't know, just be here. Be next to me right now and say, hi, how's it going? And I'm like, like, I don't know what it would look like. Maybe like a floating, glowing ball or something. I don't know. But it could just be there and be evidently true, like objective ethics. I know he exists. I know, Paul, you exist, and you guys talk to me. We talk to you. It's like, why can't God just do that? Oh, I'm going to put it in a little tiny code that eventually you guys will find later, and I'll hide it and encode it. So you have to look tricky to find it. Like, why play this little game with us? It's so silly. Why not just be obvious? If you're gonna hint that you exist, why do that? Why not just say, here I am? And the reason is because first, it didn't do it, and secondly, they want it to be true, and they lied about it. And when I did research, as I deconverted, didn't want to deconvert, but as I did research, I found many, many times where Christians outright lied. Here's an example of them lying about reality to say that Yahweh is in our DNA. No, Yahweh is not in our DNA. So we're done. You lied. Why did you lie? Now I don't trust you. You don't need to lie if you have the truth. And so this guy, in all precepts, you can only have the word truth if my God exists. Okay, well, I guess we're done talking because your God doesn't exist. And actually can't exist because it would be a logical contradiction.
Why is it just the one God? It's always funny how it's their God. Every damn person. There's, as you know, there's over 30, 40,000 different Christian churches throughout the world. But he's not the God of confusion.
Supposedly, yeah. But also it is. I love that. In the Bible, it's like God has sent spirits to deceive us. But also God's not the God of deception. Like, what? It's and Jesus was like, nothing in the law is done away with. Also, by the way, I've done away with all the law. Now you just need to follow the golden rule. Like, whatever. Contradiction, who cares? What do you think, objective ethics?
Well, I think it's fascinating and also frightening that the people who are religious, and I talk to people from all different types of religions, a lot of what you guys are alluding to, they always think it's my God or I found the truth. It's the cognitive dissonance. You cannot get these people to recognize the fact that they are denying every other religion and every other deity concept in the same way that skeptics deny their concept, but they don't recognize that that's their own failure, that they just decided to latch onto something with no evidence whatsoever, making the same exact claim of real what do they call it, revelation. So I've got a personal revelation from my God. That's how I know it's true. It's like, well, so do the Hindus and so do the Zoroastrians and so does everybody else. What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Word salad.
When I was a believer, I didn't think about any of the stuff that I believed in. Not really. I mean, and I have videos where I talk to myself occasionally from time to time. I have to find one, actually. I want to try to find some more, but I deleted that channel, sadly. I shouldn't have done that, but whatever. And, some of the stuff I said was like, oh, my word, how was I so wrong? And it's not like I'm saying, well, there's no God. I don't know. I don't even know what God is. That's a problem by itself. Like, people say God is X, Y, and Z. And I go, cool. How do you know that God is that thing? and it's a definitional proposition. It is defined as this, but it is not demonstrated to be this. So it's opposite of everything that is a thing. Now, something like the number one. What is the number one? That's very, yeah, well, yeah. You can say what it isn't, you know, but what is it? Where does it exist? You know, what is it made out of? What does it taste like? Well, these questions don't have meaning. There isn't a number one. It exists in our brain. That's it. So there isn't a number one. Not really. But it's an idea, and it's an interesting idea, but that's all it is. So can't God be that? Well, yeah, God can be just an idea, and that's what I think it is. And it's definitely that. I don't know if it's more than that, but I definitely agree it's definitely an idea. And it's an interesting one. I would have loved to understand Riley's view, but oh well, he, you know, had to be ridiculous. So I said, good riddance. Yay, more R words. Give me some R words. Well, there's a couple I could think of, but we're not going to do those on there.
Did he run a? And I'll go back and watch the video, but just for curiosity, did he run a specific precept argument like tag or kalam or something like that?
No, he just said, you have no basis in your worldview for truth. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that bullshit.
How does a God make any concept you have also untrue? It's the stupidest damn thing, you know? You know, what's in a book doesn't make it true, but if I go and read what the book says and then I try it out and it works.
God knows objective reality because it made objective reality, and God told me that it was real, and so I know that I can trust God, so I know that there's an objective reality, and it's like, but it's all still in your head. It's still all in your head.
That's the major problem. No, that's the major problem with that. It goes right back to that cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I can never say the word right. Yeah. Sophilism. How do you say the damn word?
Hard solipsism.
Yeah, that's the word. Solipsism.
Yeah, and I actually, in my last debate that I had against Christian nationalist, that debate went very well, by the way. I crushed that guy, but he tried to throw that at me, and it was a complete red herring because it had nothing to do with the debate proposition whatsoever. You know, should the Bible be used to build society or whatever? And I explained to him, and I said,
I didn't watch that. I need to watch that. I don't know. Maybe YouTube was it on your channel?
I don't actually do a channel. No, this was.
Oh. I'm like, am I not subscribed to you? Like, what? Question. Yeah, send me that in the email too. I don't.
I will. So. Yeah, so when you try to explain to a Christian that just having claiming a God concept for the basis of knowledge and intelligibility doesn't get you out of hard solipsism, because you still have to rely on your own brain. To understand that, you know, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They keep. That really comes from Tag, the transcendental argument from God.
I know.
You know, Joe from the Think Institute. He's famous for trying to run that bullshit on people.
Matt Slick did it too. Matt Slick has done Tag. And you know, I talked to Matt Slick and Tag, you're it. I talked to Matt Slick a long time ago, and I just remember a couple things from that conversation now, where it's like
a couple of years ago, I was in a group and somebody had G-Man come in. Did you see that one?
I mean,
no. I was in there. Okay.
G-Man's just dead to me at this point.
No, I tore him a new one right off.
Yeah.
Before he came in, I was saying, you bring him in here, and I'm going to jump on his fucking shit right off. I'm not playing games because I can't stand the asshole. And I had him twisted
about
up.
The same piece of shit that I'm thinking of. He's an African American who defends slavery.
Yes,
what a
he's
piece
an idiot.
Of shit. I have had a conversation with that guy. He is a piece of shit.
Now look. We got to clarify. Just because you're a piece of shit, that doesn't mean that your argument is invalid.
It stinks, but it's not invalid.
You could still have a sound argument and be a piece of shit, just to make sure we're not creating an ad hominem.
I understand it, but I don't want to spell it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you guys
Good
know who
times.
Justin from? Do you guys know Justin from Deconstruction Zone?
No, I don't.
Oh, really? Oh my God! That you guys need to check out.
I
Deconstruction.
may.
Oh.
But the
He
name's
is. He's a former pastor, and he's got a master's degree in biblical studies. He knows the biblical Hebrew and Greek, so he knows his shit.
I know who you're talking about. He
He
says,
is cooking Christians.
prove
Yeah.
me wrong. Your God
Yes.
is shit. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I know
He
him.
is absolutely cooking Christians every 5 days a week on his channel. And I mean, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
makes people look so bad. Well, G-Man was talking a bunch of shit about him and said he's going to debate Justin and all this blah, blah, blah. So he went into Justin's channel. Justin obviously cooked him like he does everybody else. And so I went and ended up talking to G-Man one time after that. And he was trying to run the slavery argument to me. And I wouldn't have any of it. And he actually accused me of being Justin, like incognito, because I was like,
you are.
yeah, I was like, yeah, apparently. I said, I'm not as smart, half as smart as Justin is when it comes to this stuff. You know what I mean?
He's great.
It was hilarious. I don't know what that guy. He's got some kind of mental issue.
But I mean, of course, I mean, we have William Lane Craig defend genocide, so it doesn't surprise me that somebody would defend slavery.
Yeah, I just get.
I mean, absolutely, these things are objectively correct when God says that they are.
Yeah, but I just get a kick out of Justin because, I mean, to study and know Hebrew, right away he can tear people up when they start quoting things because he knows it inside out.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff. I mean, it gets kind of sidetracked because I'm like, yeah, whatever. I mean, just let's get to the meat and potatoes of it.
Oh, that's what he does. But
you know, like
watch him.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see the description, all the links I
worship
had.
him. Worship him.
I don't know, but
you said real quick. But you said he debated G-Man.
Who?
Yeah, G-Man went onto his channel.
Oh,
okay. Justin yeah, you know how Justin, he just literally runs circles around people because he knows the Bible so well and he knows all the languages, so they don't have all their little cop-outs and their excuses. And he has just, he embarrassed people.
I have to see that. I have to look it up. That will be fun. I need some laughter.
But yeah, I think I said G-Man was dead to me when he lied about being an atheist. I just thought that was disdainful.
If he doesn't make money off the thing, I say that about all of them, all the big names. If they weren't making money, they would drop the whole thing. They have to be making money.
Maybe, I don't know. But
they're making money off.
I mean, but I don't know. But it's like, well,
I know.
I kind of wonder, like, if you could get them in a room that they thought was safe to say, and you're like, okay, look, I'll pay you X amount if you could, like, catch them on recorder, you know. Like, how much money would it take to buy out Kent Hovind or something? You know, it's just as a, just to see. You know, it's just as a curiosity. I don't know.
He's got to be making money on it, or he wouldn't be doing it. That's exactly.
I think people buy into their own ideas. You know, people get used to the idea and they believe their own thing. And I mean, we're all susceptible to it. There's some idea that I have that. That I bought into, I suppose, and I don't know what that is. I just gotta challenge it, whatever it is, you know. Here we go, math, physics nerd. Here we go. Yeah, more people, more.
We're in trouble now.
Wait, hold on. Hello. Just got to figure out the microphone and all that.
Yeah, I had to try a couple times so I finally got in here.
Yeah, there's a little gear. You have to click it, and it's this, it's that. You know, maybe he doesn't have a microphone.
Lucky you.
It doesn't even know what he looks like. It has no idea.
I don't know what I look like. Oh my God.
That is correct. The world did not appear from nowhere. That is correct. The world came from, I guess. Well, when the sun exploded, to
No,
become a
no,
sun
a star.
star.
Or lots of
The-
stars made all
yeah,
the
but
extra elements.
our star, when our
Oh.
star began,
It
that it
collapsed.
flung out, whatever it did, I don't know. It flung out like dust and dirt and stuff.
That was
I guess.
leftovers. No,
Yeah.
that's only stuff that didn't get to the sun itself.
Yeah. So
It had
that's
enough
like whatever
speed not to
was
fall
still
in.
floating around. That stuff like eventually pulls together and becomes a thing, and that's there you go. Oh, he gave up. Oh, he didn't.
He ran away.
Uh-oh, private chat. What's this? Oh, it can't hear audio. Something from Mike. Oh, okay, that's fine. But yeah, nobody claims that the world or universe or anything came from nowhere. And in fact, I have a video.
There's the other thing. You know, the universe had to come from something, but God always was and always will be exception to the rules.
Well, you know, I mean, is there a absolute answer? Who knows? I mean, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's nothing but questions all the way down.
I keep checking my bank account. It doesn't change when I thought, so I guess I ain't finding out anything yet.
Nobody claims that bandwagon fallacy. No, I'm just saying that nobody claims it. That's not the bandwagon fallacy.
What's that? What fallacy is that?
What, the bandwagon? It's a it's true because they're popular or large people believe it.
Oh, fan as in, okay.
Bandwagon.
Band.
So nobody that I know of thinks that the universe or Earth came from nothing. So to say, well, but the universe didn't come from nothing, it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Who was
nobody says it? Who the hell says it does? I don't know, not me, you know, but so
yeah, but who was the scientist who was a steady state scientist? No. Listen to the whole thing. The steady state scientist. He believed in this universe being a steady state. It's always been, and it just keeps renewing it. Anyway, he's the one that came up with because he didn't believe in it, the Big Bang. He's the one who coined that because he didn't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we got a bad description for the whole thing, because it wasn't a bang.
Yeah, no.
As a matter of fact, it wasn't big.
I think that was Newton. He was steady
state.
No. And then no, that wasn't.
No, Newton might have, but no, I'm talking about fairly recent 20th century scientists.
Oh, okay.
If you look up, who coined Big Bang, it should come up.
Fred Hoyle.
Yeah, that's it. And to the end, he wouldn't believe in the Big Bang theory, but he coined the name.
Yeah.
And that was a derogatory.
Right. And now people use it wrong all the time.
Right.
You know, it strikes me again, reflecting on this conversation, that it's like I'm trying to explain the word atheist, and then he goes right back into, well, but you can't say what's true unless you're a Christian or unless there's a God. You know, it's like, okay, you know, whatever, you know.
So all that stuff that Einstein did is not true. Okay. Throw away that GSP damn salad.
No, it can't be true or false. I mean, you know, it's just pointless at that point, you know, and it's just don't. I just don't care. I don't have the time, energy for it. I just don't have the patience for it. I wish it was an actual conversation, but you know, he gave up on that. You know, and he said that the lobster wasn't real, so that was that. You know,
that's all that counts, right there.
Yeah, transcendental argument. Yes, the transcendental argument is precept. Yeah, the transcendental argument, rather. Yeah, it's just circular. It's just circular. God
made God because
God is required for logic. Therefore, if you use logic, God exists. It's like, no, actually, but you know, anyways, I don't know. Sean Very hard name to say. It took me a while. I'm still not sure if I got it wrong. Sean! That's how I did it last time. Slorb has said something. I don't know what he's talking about. Or she. It, him, her. The words are weird. Words are wacky.
Well, it is a problem. Not everybody has exactly the same definitions for every word, too.
Yeah, well, natural language is a whole thing that can't be fixed, you know. But you know, if we had an artificial language, that'd be interesting. There are some, but you know, we'd have to agree to use it.
But like you said, you have to set up your definitions for words.
Yeah, and you know, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Gotta leave.
Well,
All right. See you later, math, physics nerd. Try to fix the audio. Good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'm kind of done. My brain's done. I don't know. Glad you guys came in so I could just kind of wind down after that. Yeah, let me know. Go back and watch it and tell me I'm wrong. You know, I know there was people in the comments telling me to calm down, and it's like, I know, but you know, look.
how can you calm down after you heard the same freaking thing? And I'm
you
76. You think I haven't heard every freaking stupid story by now?
I you know,
again and again and again.
It is something that, you know, look, I made the error of not asking if he was a presuppositionalist. I will not make that error moving forward. So
Okay.
I will ask people if they're presup before I agree to talk to them from now on. So then that way I just avoid presup. Unless they lie to me, which is always possible. Oh, well,
no.
Next time.
False witness?
Let me go ahead and announce next time, if anyone's still listening to all this insanity. Let's see, where is it? Let me get that up here. So Monday, October the 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be talking to I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to hide you in the background there while I talk to the audience. I will be, so let me try again here. Monday, October 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be talking to my brother about his book called Unapologetic, a book that seeks to try to tell Christians that they shouldn't use apologetics. He is a Christian. He is a believer in God. And I've talked to him before on my channel, and I think I have a few of his conversations we have in my discussion with Thea's playlist. So that's Monday.
Monday.
1 p.m. On Wednesday, October 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be talking to Nathema Ministries. I have no idea what that's going to be about. So check it out. I think I'll just interview him because that usually goes better than this mess that I had here. So I don't know. All right. Until next time, everybody, stay skeptical. And after next time, be a lobster. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to write a comment and subscribe and like and throw money at me and explain the universe. And if you're single and a girl, email me for the love of humanity. I've run out of ideas of how to get a date. And also give something. I don't know. Anyways, okay, I'm done. Okay, thanks. All right. Meow 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 meow.